Chiefs Kingdom, welcome to the YouTube channel. Welcome to AP Film Room. Hopefully you're not a stranger to us. Hopefully you're watching during the regular season and the postseason when we were breaking down Chiefs film in post-game. I'm just breaking down whatever we wanted to. And we're back. A little hiatus off season. We've been talking to you through the podcast network, transition to over there. But now we want to break down some draft film because we're in the thick of it, guys. It's about a month away from draft season. Before we get too far into it, you can see our names, but might as well introduce ourselves if you are a new watcher. I'm Ron Kopp Jr., the lead analyst at arrowheadpride.com. Brian Stewart, at Brian Stewart _ is my guy to the left, right of me, which way or the other. And Talon Graph at Coach Graph 34. Fellas, we just got done recording a draft AP Draft Room podcast. Now we are on the YouTube channel. How we feeling? What's up, guys? What's up, Brian?
Yeah, well, the draft's a little more exciting than it was at the beginning of the week for reasons that all Chiefs fans know at this point. And so we won't go back to that. If you want to hear about that, you go on the podcast network.
Yes, good tease.
And hit us with AP Draft Room. But seriously, the draft part is more exciting. And so when we watch these players, when we break these players down, there is a greater chance that they are going to end up on the team just because they basically doubled their picks, at least in the first 3 or 4 rounds there. So in that way, a little extra juice as we start the show and get back here on the YouTube channel.
No, I am. I think people will feel that in the podcast too, because I think we had a good one. So if you haven't watched or haven't listened to that, go back and listen. And Brian had the great advertisement there for you to go back. Because we did talk a lot, but we're only here to talk about prospects today. And Town, you're going to lead us off, but first say hi to the people while I get this video hopefully cleanly up. What's up, dude?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's good. The draft season really ramped up. Just like Brian said, there's a lot more on the table now. A lot of different ways this thing could go down, and the excitement is through the roof. There's so much potential here, and what I kind of hope to see with now all the draft capital that has been acquired through the massive trade with the Miami Dolphins is I hope the defensive end position, the edge rushing position is addressed. And I hope that a pass rusher is brought in that can be, helpful from day one. Now, David Ojabo may not fit that box just because of the injury and knowing the fact that he tore his Achilles at his pro day. So his timetable for being, a full participant is a little murky right now, but what you get is a top 15 talent, that you have to wait around for a little bit to get going as a rookie. But if you take him, let's say the 29th or the 30th pick, you get a 5th-year option with him. So you get that extra year to help him, with that injury that he sustained so far. But as you can see in this first clip here, he's a great athlete. He possesses great bend and great lean. As you can see here, he's getting around the Wisconsin offensive tackle with just a little shoulder dip, giving him almost no platform to block. And as soon as he rounds this corner, he's able to throttle down and narrow his angle to the quarterback's level, wrap him up, and take him down and finish the sack and really leave no room for the quarterback to make any sort of throw. He wraps both arms up right around the shoulder. He has a great angle. He has a great pursuit angle. So really everything about this clip I like, and this is the type of player that you're getting if you just are patient with him and allow him to heal.
Yeah, no, he's a guy that would have went top 10, top 15. I mean, we've seen him very high in mock drafts, and he's definitely an exciting player, as you can see right there. A guy that the Chiefs do just lack a little bit of just juice off the edge at times. Even Melvin Ingram really brought it last year, but he has a skill that they could really use. And, he kind of gets overshadowed by his teammate, Aiden Hutchinson at Michigan, but who's going to probably be the number 1 overall pick now all of a sudden with what Jacksonville is going to do. But yeah, no, I'm excited. Talon or Brian, what is happening here? I'm going solo right now, apparently. Let's see. YouTube channel, technical difficulties. Come on now.
It's been a while.
I know, right? No, this is a warm welcome from YouTube. Appreciate you having us on YouTube. David Ojabo, he is an exciting guy that you could definitely, I feel like at this point, like, can we like for sure expect him at 29 and 30? Is that something we can say? I mean, is that fair? I don't know if
I think that's a pretty safe bet to make that he's going to last beyond that point. I think if the Chiefs don't want to take a risk, and if someone's not willing to take that risk, he's probably of the round 2. But I don't think he falls beyond, that. I don't think there's any way he falls into round 3.
Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And it's going to probably be a team like the Chiefs who have all these draft picks stockpiled up, who are going to be comfortable taking the risk first round, because they're going to look at their capital and say, we can afford to take this chance on a talent like this because we do have 2 seconds and we do have 2 thirds and, well, at least for now, and fourth. So it'll be a situation like that if he goes in the first round. Otherwise, he's going to go to day 2, and it just stinks for the guy. He's going to lose out on a lot of money, and he's still, that talent's still within his body. So that's why you got to wonder that it might be a wise swing for the Chiefs to take.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think, especially we talk about maybe, and if you listen to our pod, we talk about maybe the Chiefs sacrificing some short-term success for maybe a more long-term future. Ojabo makes sense in that sense, right? I mean, hey, maybe your first-round pick, which at some point you expect your first-round pick to be an immediate contributor, right? Maybe you sacrifice that in Ojabo for long-term success. But Talon, I'll let you get your just showing off Ojabo here a little bit more too from the right over the right tackle here.
Yeah, so here he is coming from the other side of the field with a little bit of different approach. Here he's engaging into the right tackle's chest, forcing him to open his hips. And as soon as that happens, he rips through and is able to – he has very active hands. He actually broke the Michigan school record this year for most forced fumbles in the season with 5. This one ends up back into the hands of Penn State. But nonetheless, it's a great play. It's a sack, strip sack for David Ojabo. And this is the kind of thing that you also get. He's not just a guy that can get around with speed and dip around. He has power to him. And if he gets into a chest, he's technically sound, and he's still learning the game. He didn't start playing football until his junior year of high school, so he's a very raw guy. But if he can do this 4 or 5 years into his career, think about what he can do with an NFL coaching staff who's able to optimize this guy's talents even more. So I am very intrigued by David Ojabo. Always have been, but I never really thought he was a realistic choice just because of how good he was. Now with the injury, I hate to see it. I'm not happy about the injury. I don't want that to be the message here. I'm devastated for the kid. But, looking for silver lining sort of scenarios, and it could be a blessing in disguise if he does land in a great situation in a title contender.
No, I really like that idea. You're right. No, it's something you never even think about when you're preparing for this year's draft throughout the process, at the combine and stuff. You don't even really look too far at his numbers or anything. You just, he's not going to be there. Now all of a sudden the Chiefs have a chance to get a guy that, and I think I've said it on the podcast network, but you hear smart people say if he would have stayed a year in Michigan, which he, maybe it would have been a wiser decision, he might have been a top 5 pick or so, because he just has that talent, and one more year of refining those tools at a school that'll definitely help him do that. How many edge rushers is Michigan going to send out to the NFL? It's ridiculous. But Brian, I'm going to throw it to you here. We got the other side of the ball. We got ourselves a fun receiver to look at. Go ahead and introduce him to the people.
This wide out here is Jameson Williams out of Alabama, transferred from Ohio State after spending a couple years there. So he was only at Alabama in 2021. Again, like Ojabo, he's a player who could fall into the range in the draft just because he did tear his ACL in the college football national championship game. So, he's got that recovery to fight. Everything he has said publicly, at the combine especially, indicates that he's on a good track. He mentioned that he was told 5 to 7 month timeline. If you go with the more conservative 7-month timeline, he should still be around by the time the regular season begins, maybe even training camp. So he's a player they probably would have to trade up for in that 20 range, just based on what we're seeing mock draft wise. And, if you're looking for somebody who will let you run WASP, who has the speed to still do that, here's a player who can. Okay, his skill set He is made to step into the Z wide receiver role that Tyreek Hill vacates. Doesn't mean he's going to be Tyreek Hill. I don't think he ever will be. Tyreek's too special, but maybe what he gives them at the cost financially is, a better value than what they might have gotten with Tyreek and the salary and all that. So you'll see here on this play against LSU, the long speed, the smooth strides. Okay, he's got some long, smooth strides, and he gets on the heels of D-backs in a hurry. One little mental lapse, on the back end here, you see the safety. He gets just a little too wide into his back pedal, and Williams is able to just outrun with ease both the defenders who are trying to play catch up. This isn't even a hard throw, really, in terms of, he's wide open. It's a far throw. It's not a hard throw. He's wide open. This is something he did a lot at Alabama this year, and I think it would translate very well, like I said, into that Z wide receiver role. Andy Reid would know what to do with this guy.
Yeah, no, as soon as you start describing the play, of course, the play wants to, be a little jaggedy. But no, that play exactly is what they asked Tyreek to do a lot of the time. If they see those cover 2 looks, just run as fast as you can through the middle of that, and just make them both just commit to you and fear you. And Jameson has that speed. He's kind of has that track background. I think his parent, isn't his whole family track athletes, or I believe that is the case. Brian, what are you seeing from this play? And this might be another example of the track speed that he has.
Sure. More parallels to the types of things that he could do in Kansas City. How many times have we saw, whether it be Tyreek or Hardman, run this exact jet sweep, jet action pass play? They could bring him in. He's got experience doing this. Look at the speed, the quickness. Okay, that defender initially thinks he has the angle. He's coming downhill hard and just so smooth. Williams just makes that little cut and he's around. And he turns a play that most receivers are going to get tackled there for a 1-2 yard gain. He turns it into an 8-9 yard gain, keeps his offense ahead of the sticks. So utilization-wise, because this is a player who his biggest issues are probably going to be play strength, right? Fighting through physical coverage. If you use him in ways like this, if you use him off the line of scrimmage, he's not going to have to do that as much as, as little as possible. And so I think that's what you'll be seeing the Chiefs do with him if he does end up in red and gold. But Andy also has history with players like this. I kind of liken him to Deshaun Jackson a little bit. I think he could be a better Deshaun Jackson. He's bigger, got a few more inches of height and longer arms. But point being, we've seen in Andy's offense a player like this work at a really, really high level. So I'm kind of, on board with the idea of picking him. Could be another receiver, but it's going to be somebody. I think that's for certain.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And here we go with a third guy, a third draft prospect. We all picked pretty big names. It's just part of it. Jameson Williams and Ojabo, 2 guys that we already mentioned, but injury related are going to slip to us. Wouldn't be able to maybe make an immediate impact like you'd maybe like from a first round pick. My guy is not in that category, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about Georgia safety Lewis Cine, a guy that we kind of targeted from the get go. We talked about the safety class so early. That was one of the first positions we all really wanted to talk about. We talked about Daxton Hill as one of Talon's guy, which I'm sure we'll have a little video of him at some point. But Lewis Cine to me just I feel like he can he's that do-it-all guy and you saw him from the Georgia defense. You see a lot of him. The more and more, especially after the combine, you see his testing numbers. I mean, I really like the idea of him. And I just think I picked out 3 plays that kind of just show you what he can do. Now, I could have put together, you have plenty of examples of a safety running the alley hard, getting up there quick and making a hard hit. But real quick, I think this shows this was early in the game, a tone setting play on 2nd and 10, it looks like, on a run. He just comes up so quick from that free safety position. He runs that alley so fast, gets there so quick, and he is willing to throw his body, man. I love that about him. He played primarily from the free safety position at Georgia, that deeper look, but he just gets up there so quick, really helps in run defense. It's really a quality of his that I think, I think he's maybe kind of the player that we all maybe wish Thornhill was, in terms of, a guy that, is rangy enough in the back end, which I'm about to show you here, but can also come up. And I think Thornhill does, come up and make plays for sure. I think he's gotten better and better at that. But I just think, a guy like Lewis Cine just does it a little more. And I'm going to show you his range, because I do think he has that athleticism. He ran a 4.4 at the NFL Combine. And so I do think he's a guy that could really patrol the back end. Him and Justin Reed can really cover a lot of ground. They can be kind of versatile maybe. But he's playing Treylon Burks here against Arkansas. They're playing from a too high look, just some basic stuff here. It looks like they maybe go a little bit of cover one robber. And he's kind of cheating the other side a little bit, but he's got his eyes on Burks as a single deep safety. But as soon as he doesn't see a threat to that other side, he gets his eyes on Burks. And I just really like, just how quickly he gets over the top of that. And even if the throw doesn't get attempted, but, if they're, from the other side of the field, to get over the top of a guy like Burks that quick, if that ball gets thrown, I feel like he's there to make a play, because, I on this next play, I'll show you, he does have some ability attacking the ball. But before I keep just going on and rambling, I want your guys' takes on Cine. I know we keep talking the safety position. Talon, you still like Jackson Hill a lot. I know you do. But, how does Cine compare to him? And just like, what are your thoughts on what Cine can bring to the Chiefs defense?
Yeah, Hill's still my number one guy. Obviously behind Hamilton overall in safety room. But Cine, I think I'm ready to put Cine as my number, right behind Hill over Brisker. I think Cine has done enough now to show that I think his ceiling is a little bit higher. He can offer a little bit more in terms of just overall range, playing over the top like you're showing here, and playing in the box and really helping out in the run game. I think he's a very versatile safety. And, I'm going to stick by my Ed Reed-ish comparison. I do think he has a little bit of Ed Reed in the game. I don't know if he's ever going to be that all-pro type of player, but he does play similar to an Ed Reed style of safety.
Brian, what are you thinking about Cine at this point? I know, we've talked about the safety class a bunch, and, it's just kind of it depends, right? It's kind of different flavors of ice cream, that kind of thing. But, it's Cine specifically. What do you like, or what are you thinking about him?
I love the angles. That's kind of what makes that position what it is. So you're playing deeper than everybody. So if you're coming up to make a play in the run game, angles got to be on point. If you're trying to get over top, like we saw on the play before this one, or this play, the other angle, you've got to be taking great angles to be on top of the receiver. I see him being able to do both, and to be really versatile that way. I think if they want to, take him, I'm not going to be mad about it at all. I don't think it'll happen, because he's going to go in that 20 to 40 range, and I do see receiver and defensive line taking priority, but he's going to have a real good career. I hope he doesn't go to the AFC West. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, no, that is the thing, man. I he might be going earlier than people think. It seems like the Combine, was it the director of the Senior Bowl really just talked him up, like the interviews were great too with him. So, that stuff is important. And, you talk about angles, and I think coming downhill and, across the back end of the defense, he takes good angles. I like the leverage he plays with here. It looks like this is a cover 3 look where he's the middle of the field safety playing that middle third. I know it's a rollout, and so it does, he's smart. He understands, the crosser's probably not happening here, right? He's smart enough to see that quarterback sprinting out. But I do like that he stays with inside leverage on Treylon Burks. Obviously that's a guy that can really beat you, and allows him to kind of break out, knowing that he has that flat, or that curl defender, I should say, that curl defender kind of underneath them to kind of, play with leverage towards that side of the route, and kind of just play really hard coming towards the route, right? And that's what he does. He just drives on it, doesn't even look for the ball, which I really like. At some points, yes, you need to look for the ball, because then it's going to be pass interference. But when you're playing from this angle, just attack with good timing, the hands. And that's exactly what he does. You can kind of see that he rips with that left hand. He rips through Treylon Burks' attempting hands, because he knows that this pass isn't going to be easy for the quarterback. So he knows that, it's going to have to be kind of a tight window throw. So, because he has, they're kind of sandwiching Burks between, 2 coverage defenders. Although I will say that curl defender player probably needs to get a little deeper in his drop to kind of take that away a little better. But I don't know. I just really like Cine's ability to drive on a play at the point of attack. I like I said, don't look at the ball, be a playmaker, time it up well, play through the hands, not the ball, because the hands are going to tell you everything. And this is a really good receiver. Like Burks is making that catch a lot of times. This isn't just anybody, and he makes the pass breakup. So I really like Lewis Cine. I'm going to be writing him up pretty soon. So check that out on the site. But any final thoughts on Cine, fellas, or just any of the guys we've talked about? I mean, these are all first round draft picks. Are we pretty ecstatic if we come away with 2 of the 3 of the guys? I would say so, right? I mean, just any combination of the 2 or the 3. Let's say it. Who would be the favorite 2 of the 3? I'll go around real quick. Talon, start with you. Who are the favorite 2 or 3 combo?
I'm going to say if they go in and they take Ojabo and Cine and really transform that defense, you're set up for the future. We talked, safety room. Longevity wise, you have Justin Reed, but Juan Thornhill's contract is coming up soon. So pairing Cine with Reed long term with Ojabo on the defensive line, I think that would be my go-to.
Brian, what do you think?
I kind of agree, but I'm also not going to because I did do the review on Jameson and I liked what I saw, and I'd be risky with him and Ojabo. They're both coming off major injury, but they also both are premier talents who are going to fall into their range because of injuries. So that's kind of an opportunity in a lot of ways. I'm going to go Jameson and Ojabo.
That's exciting, man, because those are 2 guys that you could be talking about top 10 picks if they're healthy. I mean, definitely potentially. It only takes is one team, and they're guys that multiple teams would be really considering it for both those guys. So that is fascinating, man. It is exciting. The Chiefs have an opportunity to really shake it up in the draft this year, really do some exciting stuff. We're going to keep following it, keep covering it for you guys. Make sure you keep tuning into not only the YouTube channel here, we're going to be doing this a little more, but also the AP Podcast Network, man. We got tons of good stuff coming up. Draft is a little more than a month away. We're going to have a lot of fun covering it. Hope you guys have fun watching. So I'm Ron for Brian, for Talon. Appreciate you guys tuning in today, and we will catch you next time on whatever platform it is. All right. Thanks, guys.